Yes, that's right, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV, and we are looking at survival conditions. And oh my gosh, it's not just blowing dogs off chains, it's so windy it's blowing the chains off the dogs. So I went for a picnic, and when I came off the beach where I was having a picnic, the wind has picked up significantly, and I think it's going to be quite difficult just to make it back in. And I've lost my crew as well, so I'm on my own, which is making it a bit more survival. Of course, the definition survival conditions are relative to the experience of the sailor and the sea state as well. Here in Vasiliki Bay, the sea always stays pretty flat, which means survival conditions don't kick in until a stronger amount of wind. Just going to let the traveller out a bit more. All right, so at the moment, still I've got the downhaul loose, so you can see the mainsail is actually backwinded at the top. So we really haven't got much power coming out of the mainsail at the moment. It is backwinding nicely. I'm going to have to bear away a bit to get around this flipping huge great gym palace. If I had a crew, it would be slightly less survival conditions right now. Whew! All right, but this is a punchy bit of wind. All right. If I'm going to go with the trapeze, I'm going to need to put the downhaul on, because otherwise when I pull the main sheet in, the sail will be really powerful, and don't really want that. All right, downhaul is going on. Yeah, as much as I can. That's how much. Go let the main sheet out all of the way. All right, I'm hooking on, go sheet in a bit, stop that bad boy from flogging, a little bit of jib. There's every chance that something might happen, so we just have to see what happens. Okay, so if it's still not too windy to kind of sail the boat, going upwind, there is a tremendous amount of pull to the back because of all the windage on the mast, on the rig, on the beam, on the trampoline, and all of that windage is trying to make the boat pop a wheelie on this upwind leg. So you'll see I've got my front leg really bent, back leg really straight, bracing against that pull to the back. But I'm gonna have to take it off the wind a little bit. And got the traveller pretty much all the way out. Jib is flapping a bit, which is just helping a bit. Moving forwards if the wind is heading us. So I don't want it boat popping a wheelie anymore. And we're getting very little pull off the jib. You've probably seen this before, but it would be the jib that would derail us more quickly than the mainsail, because solo we haven't got a hand on that, and even sometimes with a crew, the crew can't let it off quick enough, which could put us into a state of being upside down. All right, gonna see if I can take her off the wind a bit, see how she responds to that. So I'm getting in my safe position. Yes, it may be too far to the back, but I just want to be locked in. All right, bit of a gust here, taking it off the wind a bit. Nice, making sure that there's no ropes or anything tangled around me in any way. Big gust coming. Whew. God, it's flipping windy. That is well over 30 knots right now. Okay, we're kind of on the edge. We're popping a wheelie. I kind of don't dare bear away, but I really should. Yeah, so if we really should, then we really should. All right, here we go. Let's see. Got a very wide stance, just playing the main sheet, both against height of the hull and the bow ride height. Water speed has just buzzed, letting me know we've just hit a new top speed. Big old gust coming. There's flying fish jumping out of the water. That's because they're so scared of this big gust. All right. Little bit tentative on the main sheet, not to sheet in too much. Another gust, here it comes. More wind still. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right, that is pretty fruity. All right, so I'm gonna go back to upwind, so I'm climbing. Oh, it feels like climbing forwards, increasing main sheet tension. And even when it's so windy, having a load of main sheet in is beneficial, because the more we've got the main sheet in, the closer we can sail to the wind, and that makes it feel, well, because it is just so much more controllable, because now I've got the main sheet block to block. Yes, the Traveller is all the way out, but I can just steer the boat for these gusts. Okay, so next gust just coming. Here it comes. All right, and I could just steer a little bit and it's fine. Okay. All right, so there we go. I'm going to go back onto the boat there, sheeting out a little bit as I come in, and there we go. Whew. So I'm going to go for a tack, and like in the previous video on 3-point turns, that might be the one that we're going for, because we're going to go into the tack with not much speed. Jib is still very loose, and we really don't want to spend too much time at the back of the boat. So those key points, jib is fairly loose. We're still going to want to have the main sheet in tight, because then our tacking angle is going to be much less. So here we go, main sheet's tight, we're going in, jib's backed, going across the boat, letting the main out. Okay, no 3-point turn required. And then I'll just swap the jib over if I can. All right. Whew. All right, and now we're going for our downwind descent. This is where things could get really fruity, because when it is survival conditions, this is when sometimes you don't really have much of a chance to depower. Letting the jib off a bit more. All right, I just want to get the boat going pretty much deeper downwind than our traditional angle. All right, more flying fish. It's a big flying fish day today. All right, so we're just charging off down here, and there is a big gust coming, so hopefully we can take it. Hopefully we can handle it. You may think at the moment it doesn't look very windy, but that's because we're looking at it straight downwind. So to make this sort of survival sailing easier, we're trying to avoid the beam reach. The beam reach is definitely the more difficult point of sail. Now, I also made a video on getting downwind when it's too windy, where there's a load of different methods. You could check that one out, I'll put that at the end. That was pretty good. So this is pretty deep downwind. I can see on the telltales at the front, they are further forwards than 90 degrees. So we're using this depth to control it a bit more. So I'm just going to bring her back up. We've gone far enough down, and now it feels as windy as it is. One of the first concepts which I think is important is if you're not feeling confident, maybe the waves are really big or it's just that windy and you just want to make it home, don't worry about trapezing. You can sit on the boat, just make sure you're secure, foot under the tow strap, that's nice. Right, so I've got the Traveller all the way out. We're on a kind of close reach, so not upwind, not the beam reach, but a close reach. And you'll see our speed is pretty low, but with the Traveller out and the jib flapping, it means if we do get hit by a gust, like here comes one, we can just let the main sheet out and it takes the sting out of the tail of that gust. Now do make sure you can uncleat the main, so every time I sheet in I just take it out straight away so that I know that I can let that bad boy off. All right. And then if we want to go a bit faster, if it's not absolutely terrifying, and at the moment you can see the bows are riding pretty high, so if I want to go a bit faster and the bows are riding pretty high, we can always just bear off a little bit, like just there. That's enough. You really feel the speed come on. Make sure you don't get sent flying off the back of the boat. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right, yeah, so I just had to head up there a little bit. That's the sort of heading up we don't want to do if we're trapezing, especially with a crew, because that could send them flying forwards, which could be bad. All right, so gonna go for that again, but this time just gonna let the jib off a bit more, because that might have been the jib that took us there. Yeah, so we want the first half of the jib flapping. All right. So there we go. We can do this. You don't have to trapeze. Now that we're really in the thick of it, I think we should just have another look at a tack in case we were pointing the wrong way. Of course, at the moment we're pointing the right way, but what if we weren't? Yeah, we would need to tack. All right, so what we're going to want to do is, we can do this with the traveller out, jib flapping still. We've just got a little bit of jib on, which means when it backs, it's going to pull us round. And you can see that we're hardly moving forwards, but this is fine because we're very close to the wind, main sheet's in tight, and the rudders are still working, which means as soon as we push the rudders away, hopefully the jib will back. And if it doesn't, if the boat stops before the jib backs, we might have to back it up and do the 3-point turn. So as we push away, we're just going to look forwards, check the area we're going to tack into. All right, looking forwards, is the jib backing? No. Reversing the rudders into the 3-point turn, getting across the boat, abandoning the rudders, jib off, and then I'll take the rudders back, try not to spend time at the back of the boat too much. Just want to sheet in a bit, just to stop the mainsail from flogging too much. Want to get the jib in a bit. There we go. So that is when we would use this 3-point turn. If we really want to tack the boat without any boat speed. Right, so we're just going to do that again. So again, when I initiate the tack, I'm looking forwards, looking for when the jib's going to back, and if it doesn't quite back and start pulling us round, that is when we're going to reverse the rudders at the same time as letting the main sheet off, and that will initiate the 3-point turn. All right, again, we're going on about the 3-point turn because it really is that useful, that important. All right, here we go. Hardly moving, initiating, uncleating the main, but holding it. Yeah, we're on for another 3-point turn. Watching the front of the boats turning, coming across to this corner to stop us from capsizing. And then the jib's pulled us round. So I've got the jib off there. Gonna grab the stick. Oh, tricky one. Try not to spend too much time at the back of the boat, because especially when we're pointing upwind, that's quite a dangerous place to be. All right, so there we are, back on board sailing again. All right, so one other sort of trick shot we could use if it was very windy and we're really struggling to get to where we want to go. Every time we even point the boat where we want to go, it's not happening, is we could let off the downhaul like we would after a capsize. On this one, I'm just going to cleat it to stop the gooseneck from coming out. And you can now see up at the sail, there is no shape in that bad boy at all. And we can then sail in with the main sheet totally loose. See how loose that bad boy is? That is a loose bad boy main sheet. Very good. And then solo, because we've got the main sheet out all the way, I can then just hold the jib sheet, and if we want a little bit more beans, we could just pull the jib in a little bit, but be ready to let it out. Big gust there. Yeah, I wouldn't go for too many jibes in this sort of wind, but I know what you're thinking. Is it possible? Well, let's have a look. But before we go for a jibe, I'm going to put the downhaul back on, because if we jibe with no downhaul in this amount of wind, we could damage the sail, and we don't want to do that. So there we go, downhaul going on. All right, I'm going to bring the traveller into the tow strap, because we want the main going across as early as possible and letting the jib off a bit more, because we don't want that pulling us over. Got my foot braced against the cleats there. Whew. God, it's pretty windy. Right, we're going to go. So going in hard, tweaking her back. All right, we made it. That was a pretty exciting jibe, I would say. Whew. Okay, and now the jib's on the wrong side, so that's trying to pull us over. God, it is exciting stuff, but we still want to get back in, so we're going to go downwind again, go for another jibe. You know, perhaps this is more of a novelty item than a useful teaching point in this wind, but the main thing with jibing in this wind is we really want to get the boom across early, which is why we've got the traveller at the tow strap, and we're going to, once we're on that downwind point and we've decided to go, we're really going to throw it into the jibe, and that's going to give it a bit more momentum to get the sail across earlier, and then as soon as it's gone across, we are then going to tweak it back downwind a little bit. All right, so here we go. Here we go. God, I'm a little bit scared. Don't know if that one we just did was lucky. Whoa, there's a big gust there. All right, bringing it downwind, just sheeting out and downwind, there we are. All right, so let's go for this jibe. So really sending it in, tweaking it back. Whoa, bows have gone in, and we've toasted our muffins. Yes, we have. All right, she's going to invert, which is fine, because if the boat inverts, it means it's not going to drift off quite as fast. All right, the 360 cam on the boom. All right, see you in a bit. And we are getting back on. Main sheet's uncleated, which is good. And then once we're on the boat upside down, we're pretty happy. This is a very stable place to be. But of course, we're only happy if there's nothing immediately downwind that could derail us. As we mentioned in the previous video on getting downwind, if we're upside down, we could just sit here and get downwind as long as the water's deep enough. That's fine, as long as we've got plenty of space down here. All right, helmet back on, let's sort this out. As always, Wildwind Sailing Holidays, rescue service to the rescue. Yeah, so to do the analysis of that jibe, it was because I think we weren't going fast enough into it. Okay, so in this wind, we'll see that the wind is getting under the trampoline there. It's going to bring us up onto our side pretty quickly. So I'm just going to stand up there, a bit easier to stand up as she comes up. I'm going to uncleat the jib, and I'm going to uncleat the downhaul, because we don't want the mainsail flogging when we come back upright. All right, and we've got a bit of a tangle there, so we don't want to fall in the water here, because the boat in this sort of wind is moving pretty fast on its side. And then I'm just going to come forwards onto the bow. I'm using, where are you? All right, you can't see me. I'm coming forwards onto the bow to help to turn the boat into the wind. This is going to help to stop it from flipping over the other way. It's also going to get the wind under the mainsail, and the boat is going to come up super easy in this amount of wind. So here we go. So now getting back into position. And there she comes, holding on. Ah, too soon. All right, let's do this. So right in line at the deepest part, getting on there, giving it the pull. Here she comes. All right, really arm over there. Okay, and we're in motion. Not ideal because the jib seat is full. I just managed to get the jib seat off there, so we should head up there. Whew. Yeah, I didn't manage to uncleat the jib very nicely. God, that was a moment. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so I've just learned there, really double check that the jib is uncleated both sides, because if it's cleated and then you come back upright, the boat is going to want to sail off with you dragging underneath. Not very nice. Okay, so there we go. Let's see if we can, woohoo! That's quite fortunate that where we've righted the boat there, it's pointing the right way. Okay, so to get her back in, got the downhaul released, but not so much that the gooseneck comes out of the mast, because that could damage the sail. Jib's loose, I'm pretty loose. All right, I'm just gonna skip to when we get to the beach and just see how we go about doing things when we get there. And we're back on board. So we're getting closer to the beach where we're gonna put the boat. Now, our primary concern here is to get to the beach, to get as close to the beach as possible, especially if the bottom, the seabed shelves quite a lot. The shallower the water is, the easier it's going to be for us to hold the boat when we stop. So even, you know, I hate to say it, even if it means you might ding one of your rudder blades, better to have a dinged rudder blade than to have a boat that you can't hold on to and it's dragging you off downwind. So we're just going to bring the boat in as close as we can to the beach. So now we're pretty close. I'm going to let the jib off completely, and I'm also going to let the downhaul off completely, so when I sheet the main out, that should just release and slide upwards. All right, there is another boat going in, so just gonna, yeah. All right, so those of you who have noticed, yeah, it's not quite so windy here, but we're gonna go through this as if it was. So if there's this sort of situation where there's a bit of a queue, I'm just gonna poke the boat up into the wind just until we've got our spot for landing. All right, and I'm gonna, as advertised, going to bring it in really close to the beach. And then what we can do, I know it's shallow enough here, so I'm just going to hold the tiller extension away, heading the boat up into the wind, and then that gives me time to get forwards, grab the bow, and we're home. We've made it, we've survived. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you soon with some more on Joyrider TV.